Poverty is a pervasive issue affecting billions of people worldwide. Despite economic growth and technological advancements, a significant portion of the global population continues to live in deprivation, struggling to meet basic needs. The wealth gap between the rich and the poor has widened over time, creating a stark contrast between those who thrive financially and those who barely survive. To understand why poverty remains such a persistent problem, it's essential to look beyond mere financial definitions. Poverty encompasses more than just a lack of money. It also includes limited access to education, healthcare, and opportunities for advancement. Many people are trapped in a cycle where limited resources hinder their ability to escape poverty, leading to generational poverty that seems almost impossible to break. In this video, we will explore the underlying factors that contribute to this enduring state of poverty. But before we dive in, please drop a comment saying, "I am a successful and wealthy individual." Positive affirmations attract good things into our lives, so comment, "I am a successful and wealthy individual." When I see your comment, I'll give it a heart. Now, let's continue. Systemic barriers are the structures and systems in society that inherently disadvantage certain groups, making it exceedingly difficult for them to escape poverty. These barriers are often deeply embedded in the fabric of society, making them invisible to those who benefit from them while being painfully evident to those who suffer because of them. Economic inequality is one of the most significant systemic barriers that keep people poor. In many societies, the rich continue to accumulate wealth at a much faster rate than the poor, leading to an ever-widening gap between the two. This inequality is often perpetuated by systems that favor the wealthy, such as tax policies, access to financial markets, and investment opportunities. The wealthy have the means to invest in assets that appreciate over time, such as real estate, stocks, and businesses, while the poor often lack the resources to make such investments. This creates a situation where the rich get richer and the poor remain stuck in a cycle of poverty. Economic inequality is not just about income, but also about access to opportunities. The wealthy have access to better education, healthcare, and networks that can help them advance in life, while the poor are often left with limited options. This lack of access to opportunities further entrenches poverty, making it difficult for those at the bottom to climb the economic ladder. Education is often touted as the great equalizer, but in reality, access to quality education is highly unequal. In many parts of the world, children from wealthy families have access to the best schools, private tutors, and extracurricular activities that enhance their learning, experiences, and future prospects. In contrast, children from poor families often attend underfunded schools with fewer resources, larger class sizes, and lower quality teaching. This disparity in education creates a significant barrier to social mobility, as those who receive a substandard education are less likely to have the skills and qualifications needed to secure well-paying jobs. The impact of education disparity is not limited to primary and secondary schooling. Access to higher education is also highly unequal, with the cost of college and university education often being prohibitively expensive for those from low-income families. Even when scholarships and financial aid are available, the burden of student debt can be overwhelming, limiting the economic prospects of those who do manage to attend college. Without access to quality education, many people are effectively locked out of the job market, relegating them to low-paying, unstable jobs that perpetuate the cycle of poverty. While systemic barriers play a significant role in perpetuating poverty, psychological factors also contribute to why most people remain poor. These factors often stem from the experience of poverty itself, creating a mindset and behavior patterns that can be difficult to break. The poverty mindset is a term used to describe the set of beliefs and attitudes that people living in poverty often develop. This mindset is characterized by feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and a lack of control over one's circumstances. People with a poverty mindset often believe that their situation is unchangeable and that no matter what they do, they will never be able to escape poverty. This belief can lead to a sense of resignation, where people stop trying to improve their situation because they believe it is futile. The poverty mindset is not just about negative thinking. It also influences behavior. People with a poverty mindset may be more likely to engage in short-term thinking, prioritizing immediate needs over long-term goals. For example, they may spend money on non-essential items because they believe they won't be able to save enough to make a difference anyway. This type of behavior can perpetuate the cycle of poverty, as it prevents people from making the kinds of investments and decisions that could improve their long-term economic prospects. Fear of failure is another psychological factor that can keep people trapped in poverty. When people have experienced repeated failures or setbacks, they may develop a fear of taking risks or trying new things. This fear can be particularly strong among those living in poverty, as they often have fewer resources to fall back on if they fail. For example, someone living in poverty may be hesitant to invest in further education or start a new business because they fear they won't be able to afford it if things don't work out. This fear of failure can lead to a cycle of inaction, where people avoid taking the steps that could help them escape poverty. Instead, they may stick to what they know, even if it keeps them in a state of poverty. Over time, this fear of failure can become deeply ingrained, making it even more difficult for people to break out of the cycle of poverty. Cultural and societal norms also play a significant role in perpetuating poverty. These norms shape people's beliefs, behaviors, and expectations, influencing how they view poverty and their chances of escaping it. In many cases, cultural and societal norms can create barriers that make it difficult for people to break out of the cycle of poverty, even when they have the desire and ability to do so. In some cultures, poverty is seen as a natural or inevitable part of life. This cultural acceptance of poverty can create a sense of fatalism, where people believe that poverty is their destiny and that there is little they can do to change their situation. This belief can be reinforced by cultural narratives that glorify suffering or suggest that poverty is a sign of virtue or spiritual purity. When poverty is culturally accepted as the norm, it can be challenging to motivate people to seek change. They may be less likely to pursue education, seek better job opportunities, or take other steps to improve their economic situation because they believe that poverty is an unavoidable part of their lives. This cultural acceptance of poverty can also influence how society as a whole addresses poverty, leading to a lack of investment in social programs and policies that could help reduce poverty rates. Social pressure can also contribute to why most people remain poor. In many societies, there is strong pressure to conform to certain behaviors and lifestyles, even when they are not in one's best financial interest. For example, people may feel pressured to spend money on expensive clothing, gadgets, or social events to maintain a certain social status or fit in with their peers. This pressure can lead to overspending, debt, and financial instability, making it harder for people to save money and build wealth. Social pressure can also discourage people from pursuing opportunities that could help them escape poverty. For example, someone from a low-income background may feel pressured to stay in their community or take on certain types of work, even if it limits their economic prospects. They may fear being judged or ostracized if they pursue higher education, move to a different city, or take on a job that is seen as outside the norm for their social group. This pressure to conform can keep people trapped in a cycle of poverty as they prioritize fitting in over improving their financial situation. Economic structures refer to the systems and processes that determine how wealth and resources are distributed in society. These structures play a critical role in shaping people's economic opportunities and outcomes. In many cases, the economic structures that exist today are designed in ways that benefit the wealthy and powerful while disadvantaging the poor. Wage stagnation is a significant factor that contributes to the persistence of poverty. Over the past few decades, wages for low and middle-income workers have stagnated, meaning they have not kept pace with inflation and the rising cost of living. As a result, many people are earning the same or less in real terms than they did years ago, even as the cost of essentials such as housing, healthcare, and education continues to rise. Wage stagnation is often the result of several factors, including the decline of labor unions, the shift from manufacturing to service-based economies, and the increasing power of corporations in setting wages. In many industries, workers have little bargaining power, which allows employers to keep wages low while increasing profits. This stagnation in wages makes it difficult for people to save money, invest in their future, and build wealth, keeping them trapped in a cycle of poverty. Wage stagnation disproportionately affects certain groups, such as women, people of color, and those without a college education. These groups are more likely to be employed in low-wage jobs with limited opportunities for advancement, further exacerbating economic inequality and making it harder for them to escape poverty. Debt traps are another economic structure that keeps people in poverty. A debt trap occurs when a person is forced to take on high-interest debt to meet their basic needs, leading to a cycle of borrowing and repayment that is difficult to escape. Payday loans, credit card debt, and subprime mortgages are examples of high-interest debt that can trap people in a cycle of poverty. The impact of debt traps is particularly severe for those living in poverty, as they often have limited access to traditional forms of credit and may be forced to rely on predatory lenders. These lenders charge exorbitant interest rates, making it nearly impossible for borrowers to pay off their debt. As a result, people may end up paying much more in interest and fees than they originally borrowed, leading to financial instability and further poverty. Debt traps can also have long-term consequences, such as damaged credit scores, which can limit access to housing, employment, and other opportunities. Additionally, the stress and anxiety associated with debt can have negative effects on mental and physical health, further exacerbating the challenges of living in poverty. Global factors such as economic trends, climate change, and geopolitical instability also play a significant role in perpetuating poverty. These factors are often beyond the control of individuals or even national governments, but they can profoundly impact people's economic opportunities and outcomes. Globalization has transformed the global economy, creating new opportunities for trade, investment, and economic growth. However, it has also contributed to the persistence of poverty by exacerbating economic inequality and creating new challenges for low-income individuals and communities. One of the key ways in which globalization contributes to poverty is through the outsourcing of jobs to low-wage countries. While this can create economic opportunities in these countries, it can also lead to job displacement and wage stagnation in higher-wage countries. Workers who lose their jobs to outsourcing may struggle to find new employment, leading to increased poverty and economic instability. Globalization has led to the concentration of wealth and power in multinational corporations, which can exacerbate economic inequality and limit opportunities for small businesses and workers. These corporations often prioritize profits over social and environmental responsibility, leading to exploitation of workers, environmental degradation, and economic instability in vulnerable communities. Globalization has created new challenges for low-income countries, such as increased competition in global markets, volatile commodity prices, and exposure to global economic crises. These challenges can limit economic growth and development, making it difficult for countries to reduce poverty and improve living standards for their populations. Poverty is a complex and multifaceted issue perpetuated by a combination of systemic, cultural, structural, behavioral, and global factors. Understanding these factors is crucial for developing effective strategies to address the root causes of poverty and create a more equitable society. While each factor contributes to the persistence of poverty in different ways, they are often interconnected and mutually reinforcing, making it difficult to break the cycle of poverty without addressing the broader systems and structures that perpetuate it. To effectively address poverty, it is essential to recognize that it is not just an individual or personal failing, but a result of broader social, economic, and political systems that create and sustain inequality. This requires a comprehensive approach that includes policy interventions, cultural change, and investments in education, healthcare, and social services. Additionally, efforts to address poverty must consider the global factors that contribute to economic inequality, such as climate change, globalization, and geopolitical instability. Reducing poverty requires a commitment to social justice, equity, and the belief that everyone deserves the opportunity to live a life free from poverty. By addressing the root causes of poverty and creating opportunities for economic advancement, we can work toward a world where everyone has the chance to thrive. I hope you found this video helpful. Before you go, don't forget to check out my other videos. See you in the next one.